Hi all, welcome back to the final whistle then for the match preview. Is it the last match preview before Christmas? No, I think we've got the Watford one to do next week as well. Hope everyone's good, by the way, and welcome back to the channel for the Marti Cifuentes Derby. It's the first time Marti goes back to Loftus Road this weekend. It might be a frosty reception from the QPR lot as he left QPR for Leicester City, and it's going to be an interesting range of events. It's Leicester take on QPR. I'll be at that one, and obviously Asmir Begovic is another one that goes back to QPR as well, former QPR goalkeeper. We're going to chat with my good mate George from Hoops and Dreams podcast. He's going to give us the lowdown on QPR. We're going to be chatting with the voice of reason of the channel, Dan. His good mate, Tripod Onions, is in. There we go. A match made in heaven. Clivo, how are we? Absolutely no excuses. We should be winning this. Well, there's no easy game in the Championship, but it's a game that we obviously need to win, Clivo. Paul, how are we? Hi, Jack and Co. Hoping Marty and the guys can continue their recent form on Saturday. Well, we're going to chat with all things now with the boys. Let's get them in. Dan, how are we?
All good, Jack. How are you?
I'm better. We're in a better run of form. 7 points out of, obviously, the 9 available in the last 3 games.
Exactly. A bit more positive.
Ourselves a bit of momentum.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice for a change to win a game and then not have the international break to cut us off at the knees and then come back and be shit again. So now we've had 3 games in a row, strung 3 results. Could have been better, but, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
There we go.
So, yeah, hopefully momentum with us now. We can carry on through into the new year. It'd be nice.
Dan, the Marti Cifuentes Derby is what this one has been touted as. Marti Cifuentes going back to his former club this weekend. What sort of reception do you think he'll get? We'll talk to George in a minute, who's obviously a QPR fan. But what do you sort of think, Dan? Obviously, he did go on gardening leave because he ran up the West Brom job before, and then he obviously wanted to leave QPR. I think he fell out the director of football. I think he was fed up of being a yes man sort of thing, and then obviously left QPR by mutual agreement in the end to obviously pay his way to come to Leicester. What was your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's a tough one, I suppose, because of the small cloud he left under. Essentially it wasn't his choice to leave, and there was no real fixed. It was all, that's the problem with football. It takes one agent to drop it to the papers, and the papers then run with it as in a story. And, things could be blown out of proportion completely. There must have been a little bit of something behind it. So maybe he left under a little bit of a cloud. But at the same time, he did keep them in the Championship. So you'd probably find it's a little bit 50-50. It'll be those, a bit like our own club, who are a little bit more relaxed about things, and those that are pissed at every moment that anybody does anything, against their regime of how they feel a manager should represent themselves. So I'll probably say it'd be somewhere around, sort of a 60-40 in the happiness of seeing Marty again. That'll all change at the final whistle once we win, yeah?
There we go. No pun intended. There we go. Let's get George in. George, how are we, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Thanks for inviting me back on. Always great.
Lovely stuff. George, give us a shout out to the podcast, mate. What's happening at the Hoops and Dreams?
Yeah, no, Hoops and Dreams. We do regular match previews as well as monthly just updates, really. Really good site. I got invited on there 2 years ago. I do preview shows with Brian. We preview all the midweek fixtures, and then James and Dave do all the Saturday fixtures. So definitely worth a watch if you're a QPR fan, or equally if you're an opposition fan wanting to know a little bit more about QPR before the game. Really good show.
Lovely stuff. Right, where should we start? Marti Cifuentes. Let's talk about the man himself. Here he is, the pantomime villain. He's heading back to QPR for the first time this weekend, by the way, to take on his former side. How did it unfold, George? Because where did it all start before he obviously left QPR for Leicester? How far back did it go? Because obviously he went on gardening leave for a bit, didn't he? And because he obviously the West Brom job came available, didn't it? After Corbrand left West Brom. Yeah. Obviously, he did come in from Gareth Ainsworth. Obviously, Ainsworth was sacked after that Leicester game, wasn't it? The last meeting the two clubs played against each other. What is your thoughts on Marti, how he handled himself at QPR and how well he did to then leaving? Talk to me about the start to how it ended.
You know what? He started off in a really tricky situation because, as you just mentioned, we had Ainsworth in for the first half of the season. Yeah, like, he claimed that he kept us up the year before Ainsworth, but he really didn't. We won like 2 games under him. So it was always going to be a car crash at the start of that season. And then Marti's come in and he's really started winning over the fans. Like, I remember Rotherham away, it was his first game, and the fans just absolutely loved him. And to keep us up that season with the squad that we had and the way that we started the season, he did really well. His style of football was a much improvement on Ainsworth, saying that we had about 20% possession a game with Ainsworth. So it weren't really a high bar, but he did well in the first season. And the second season, it was just a bit underwhelming, really. You could tell that the signings weren't necessarily his, and they were made by Christian Nuri from behind the scenes.
John looking at Leicester, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that was the reason why he did leave, and that was the reason why it was speculated. It was an underwhelming season, and I know a lot of fans were saying that, okay, it's a point here where you either go for something new and you try and push on, or you stick with Martin. You know you're going to stay up, but are you really going to push for the playoffs? We're not too sure. So he then obviously went on gardening leave. There was a lot about the West Brom job. But a lot of QPR fans always had a feeling that he wasn't going to stay too long because in his past resume, I think the most seasons he stayed at one club is 2 seasons. And I always had a feeling. I remember coming on last year and I had a feeling that he'd eventually leave. And fair enough to him. He's got a job with a better squad now, financially, a better squad. So, you know, I'm quite indifferent to him. I really think back to that first season where he kept us up. The second season, not as great. But I know there's a lot of QPR fans out there calling him a snake and everything. He won't get the greatest reception on Saturday, I'll assure you that. But no, I'm quite indifferent to him. I didn't dislike him as a manager. I just feel like it was time for a step up and it was time for him to move on. So,
Dan, have you got any questions to George about Marti?
Just again, in his tenure at QPR, what we've tend to find and what extremely annoys Jack is that he'll say one thing about what he wants to bring to the club and doesn't do it, you know. And I know we feel he's being put under a little bit of pressure from what we're led to believe to play certain individuals like Harry Winks and Wout Fast for us. But since he's cut them, obviously he's brought back a little bit of youth, like what he said he was going to do. But it took him a very long time to sort of do it. It took him to be in potentially getting the bullet before he done it. Was he like that at QPR? Would say one thing but not deliver it?
I wouldn't say as much. He was always someone, like, he came in his first season. He was always someone who's quite honest with the fans. Expressed that we were in a struggle. So the first season, just keeping us up, the fans were satisfied. And then the second year, there was that little bit of pressure. Going into the season, he did say, okay, we're an improving team here. We could get top half of the table. He didn't say it, but he implied it. And then he just went through that poor run of form with us, really. Didn't really change too much. It was the fans who kept him in the job, I'd probably say. There was a game at home against Stoke where we ended up drawing 1-1, I think it was, or something like that. And the fans were just chanting his name the whole game because there was a lot of speculation that he was going to leave. But the fans kept him in the job. So in terms of whether he said things and went against it or it took him time to do that, not really as much because he didn't have as much expectation, I'd say. Coming into you guys, you're a fan base who are expecting playoffs at the minimum, I'd say. And with us, there was just such a low bar. So he wasn't as much like that with us.
I would say, personally, speaking to obviously you, George, about, the style of football and that and the way he'd go about it, he had to be pragmatic at QPR with what he had. You look at QPR squad compared to Leicester's then. Leicester's got a lot of quality in it, hasn't it, compared to what he had at QPR. So he had to sort of work it the best he could. And you talk about his hands being tied pretty much at QPR with he didn't really like the decisions that were being made by the board. And I sort of evaluate that with Leicester at the minute, where I think his hands have been tied, where he's had to play players because he has to sell these players like your Winkses, your Fash, your Samares, and he doesn't want to. He's being forced to do something he's not wanting to do. He wants to build his own squad, but it's stopping him from doing that by keep playing the players that he doesn't want to put in the team, but he has to due to the club tying his hands with it. And I think some of the decisions that he has had this season have been very much his hands have been tied. And now he's started to take control due to, obviously, he's had a bit of pressure on his job, hasn't he? Like every manager, when results aren't going well and that, and you always find that. And I think that Derby win helped him because he took players out that shouldn't have been there. And then he's thought, you know what? I need to take control here. I can't afford to lose my job at this point. I have to somehow reassure the fans that they can put the faith in me. And he has, the Derby win, the obviously the draw at Bristol City, which I thought his game management can be very off at times, where he gets out fought quite easily in some games where you think, you know what, you need to be winning them games, but he's not. And he's sort of doubting because he's sort of making some wrong tactical decisions. But then you look at the game against Ipswich, he got everything spot on. And it just worked a treat. And I think now he's starting to take more of the control that he needs to be, what he should have been doing a while ago. We're now starting to see that things are slowly coming together and we've got a team full of fighters and that's what he wants. And I think the team is developing quite well under him. You look at Bobby Reid, Oliver Skipp, players like that, they're really becoming key players under Marti. And I think Marti's enjoying seeing this team thrive. And we picked up 7 points out of the last 9, which is available over the 3 games. So I think with Marti, it's been mixed bag of his start so far. It's been a lot of frustration, but we've now started to find a little bit of momentum, which we've wanted to see from him. And these decisions that he talks about at the start, I don't think he fairly delivered on what he was saying. But all of a sudden, things are starting to work better. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. He's been not under pressure from day one,
No.
but he certainly was prior to the Blackburn game, and then really from that Blackburn game, losing that 2-0 at home in the poor manner that we did. I mean, that, like, we were sat together, and I've not seen it or felt it as toxic inside the ground for a long while. In the manner that it was. Like I say, it wasn't getting too far away from the early Martin O'Neill days where I was watching a chair getting flung over the top of my head from supporters behind me. That's the worst. Yeah, that's the worst I've ever seen it. Obviously, that was at Filbert Street, but still, within the ground. But that day, it was getting that way. And then really, I know there was a few chants for the game prior. Was it Middlesbrough? I can't think what it was the game before. There was the chance of Marti sort it out, weren't there, and things like that, because we were seeing kids on the bench.
Millwall.
Sorry?
Millwall away.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh no, the Hull that started happening. Marti
Yeah.
sorted out the whole game.
Yeah. Because I said we had other players on the bench that we felt weren't necessarily stronger ability-wise, but were stronger in work ethic-wise. And that's what we were doing. We were just getting overrun by sides because we wanted to pass the ball to death. And they don't do that in the Championship. They don't do that like they do in the Premier League, where they stand off you, let you have the ball, and if you get through them, then good luck to you. If you don't, they know they'll intercept it and break on you. And the difference is you get punished every single time in the Premier League, whereas in the Championship, it's probably about 60% of the time.
I'd say though, Dan, he's now starting to have a team that can play that, that quick transition football like he did at the start.
Exactly that.
Quicker.
It was certainly more noticeable in that Ipswich game. I know Paul here has said about questioning our own, relying on worldie goals.
Yeah.
Yes, we've scored a lot, but look at our third goal against Ipswich and the play that started to happen a little bit more.
We're starting to create a lot more, aren't we?
In that second half, where we were playing through them quite comfortably.
5 halves out of 6 have been good. And
that's it. Like I say, like I was going to say, most people will say, "Oh, it's been a bit of a stop-start season." We haven't even started really. We've literally just got going. It's almost like we're in first, second gear. Hopefully now we'll start moving through them as the season progresses. It seems to be more settled, and then with a few players coming back this weekend,
that gives them a bit more strength, doesn't it? It gives a lot more in positions, Dan, that we sort of are missing, aren't we? It's like Mavadi. You're having to put square pegs in round holes because we haven't got players who can fill that position. What's his name? Silko Thomas. I'm going to call him bloody Silver Thomas. I think of bloody Stoke winger, but he's a good player, Silko. He's put faith in these players. Ben Nelson, who should have been playing a long time ago. George would have seen him at Oxford. How good he is as a centre back. These are the players that should have been getting the game time they deserve, because they've made a difference. Still,
hugely.
How much he's been hounded. He's delivering now, and this obviously is level, the Championship, and he's proving how good he is. So, and then Jordan James is just bloody a completely different player.
Well, that's it. Again, we have pretty much the best blend of a midfield that we could have in the case of Skip and JJ, where they just complement each other really well. And it's been good to see this last 3 games, really. So hopefully, as well, with Ramsey coming back, that means that hopefully prevents JJ from having to go into that advanced midfield role. That he doesn't, although he'll do it and he's okay at it, he doesn't really want to be there, and he's not as effective for us as a club. So. It is good to see that, and hopefully that's still.
It's good to see that it's starting to transition better. Is what I'd say. I like Marti. I like the way he talks. He's a really football, nice, genuine bloke. Yeah. And I want to see him do well, but he fucking frustrates me. But sometimes I pull my hairs at him. The missus say, "You want an haircut?" I say, "No, I've just been watching Leicester City."
Exactly.
So, I think George is the same when watching QPR. Sometimes you think, how long is this hair going to last me for 90 minutes? Is it going to last longer than last time?
I've already started going grey. And I'm 17.
George, answer that one. Did you like his tippy-tappy football from the back? I mean, what do you think Leicester can obviously expect from him as well?
He's certainly a manager who likes that passing style of football. I know that with us in the second season, he started off the year by just trying to do it all the time, like play out from the back all the time, play forward, and not once go direct. And that was when we had a really poor run of form. And then we got to, it was just after an international break, and we started going that little bit more direct. And it started working out for him. We obviously reverted back to a little bit more possession, but we went a bit more direct initially. So Me personally, I've always liked that sort of tippy-tappy football. I prefer that over a knock-it-long sort of game any day of the week. But there has to be a point where it just gets too much. And I feel like with Marti at points with us, it was just too slow. There wasn't any sort of pace injected into the game. And you could see the reasons why we play well under him is because we had that little pace and initiative to get forward. Whereas sometimes we'd just be passing it around the back for no reason and then try that long ball forward. That just didn't work at all. Yeah. Like for us, when he was here with us, we had no striker threat whatsoever. Like Michael Frey was our best striker, and that says a lot. So, he was very much someone who enjoyed that tippy-tappy football, but he didn't have the resources to do it as much with us. And I think that was one of his frustrations as well, because we just didn't have the players to do it.
Yeah. George, I've got a question for you from my mate Daz. Big up Daz Woolley, by the way. Can I ask George a question? What's he thinks about Kone? Kone he's a good striker, isn't he? You know, you brought him from Wycombe. I believe Leicester are interested in him as well in the summer. What is your thoughts on Kone? He obviously decided on QPR instead of us in the end. Has he struggled to get started, do you think? Because he did start hitting the highs at the start, but he's not really been doing it as of late. But what's your thoughts on Richard Kone?
Yeah, no, he started off really well. I think he scored 4 goals in his first 5 games or something like that. And then he hasn't scored since. At the moment, he's seeming like a frustrated striker. He's just desperate to score. And he's getting in the right positions, but it's just not falling to him. Like we've got, we play 2 up front most of the time, and it's him and Burrell up front. And Burrell's on 9 goals now. And he is probably the bargain of the window. 750,000 for him. And he's just a complete bargain. Great striker. Kone for us, I think he cost us 5 million in the end, and we sold Charlie Kelman for 5 million to Charlton. So for us, another great bit of business. I think he's only scored 1 goal for them. But anyway, on Kone as a player, he's just a danger to the defence, really. He works hard. He really does work hard. For a big man, he's quite quick, and he's got excellent finishing. It's just been really frustrating for him recently. He just needs one of them goals where it goes off your backside, goes in the back of the net, and he'll start scoring again. But you can really see that there's a striker there. And I think that's something that us QPR fans are really excited about this year, because we've just had so many seasons, probably from Charlie Austin was our last proper striker. And we've now come into this year with Burrell and Kone, two proper class strikers. Like Burrell's on 9 goals. Our top goal scorer for the last 3 seasons has been 8 goals. So for us, it's just completely different. But Kone, there's a good striker there. There's a goal scorer there. He's just a bit frustrated at the moment. But we are all confident that goal will come. You can see it. You really can see that there's a top class striker there.
George, let's chat about QPR before we talk about the game. You sit 9th in the Championship. You're obviously on the same points as Leicester. Obviously, you've had the new coach come in, haven't you, at QPR? How do you think he's done so far? Obviously, he didn't have a great pre-season, did you, to be fair? And you're thinking, surely can't go into the start of the season. Obviously, you didn't start the start of the season well, did you? Obviously, you did end up getting that bloody hammer in at Coventry away. But then you really started to kick on. You really started to kick on after that point, didn't you, to be fair? And you were, like I say, 9th. You're doing well. Poku and Dembele seem to be very good players. They're, Ilias Chair again, another pivotal player for Queen's Park Rangers. What's been your thoughts on the manager and some of the main players I've mentioned?
Yeah, he's done really well. It's been a really up and down start to the season. It feels like we've done a whole season already with how many different results we've had. We just go through phases, but that's just typical QPR. If we could have consistency, we'd be in the top 6 easily, but it's just not that simple. But the last few games we've done really well. I think we've got 4 wins out of our last 6, and before this week break, we had a 3-game week. Obviously, we beat West Brom 2-1 at home. Really good performance. And then we beat Birmingham 2-1 again, obviously, a 97th minute winner. Really, really good. So his style of football is interesting. It really is interesting. It's not too far different to Marti. It's less possession orientated. Like we've won our last 13 games, I think, when with less possession. So we're definitely more direct as a team. And it's worked out well for us. We started off the year a bit like when Marti started this season. We started playing out from the back, but it didn't work too well. So we got a little bit more direct, and we're using the pace that we have this year. So with the squad on paper is the most exciting it's been for a good few seasons now. There's quality all over the pitch, in my opinion. Something like you mentioned Poku and Dembele. They're probably two players who I'd say haven't really kicked on this year. Dembele's looked weak at points, and then Poku's been injured most of the season. But from spells that he's come on, he's looked all right. Lucky enough for you guys, Chair's injured most likely for the game.
I thought he'd follow Marti to Leicester in his chair.
Yeah, no, there was speculation about that, but I think he signed a new 4-year contract or something. So he'll stay at us now. But some notable players for us. Our midfield's really solid in Maddison and Varane. Varane had a really good year last year, but hasn't done too well this year. But Maddison's a completely different player. Last year for us, it was absolutely awful. One of the only games he played where he did all right was that FA Cup game, actually, where we couldn't see a thing. But no, this year he's looked really good.
Marti changed it about 3 times, didn't he, in that game?
Oh, right. I couldn't see the game, so I'm not really one to comment. But
I think even Jamie Vardy waved at you, and he just had the chants from what you were chanting from the away end too. It's probably the most random game of football I've ever been to in my life. It's good to see anything. It's good to see the goals, really. Yeah, literally. But no, us as a team this year, we're looking good. 9th in the table. I think if you could say end the season now, we completely take that. I know there's a lot of fans saying push for playoffs, but it's just never that easy with QPR. And with the squad that we have, I'll definitely use this year as a development year. We've got some good players coming through. So next season, I can really see us pushing on. It's just this year, it's all about getting into that top half of the table and just getting a bit of consistency with results, I'd say. Yeah. What's been your thoughts on home form? Obviously, QPR have won their last 3 home matches, scoring 8 goals. How crucial has home form been to where you are in the table this season? Obviously, you have won, I think it's 5 already. 5 at home. Let's have a look. So, you've won 5 at home, drawn 2, lost 3, scored 16, let 14 in. You've gathered 17 points at home this season already. Obviously, you've seen the scenes when you beat Birmingham with that late goal. That ground erupted. It was bouncing Loftus Road. You know what it's like when QPR score, it bounces. What's been your thoughts on the home form?
Yeah, it's been good this year. So many managers have come in and said, okay, we're going to make Loftus Road a fortress as it can be. And so many fans say it. They say it. You're on top of the pitch, really, at Loftus Road. And that's why I absolutely love it. I wouldn't want us to move to another soulless bowl stadium where there's just not much atmosphere. And that's why I love Loftus Road, and every QPR fan absolutely adores it. And it's something I've always said as a QPR fan. If we can sort out home form, who knows where we can go? Because if you get the fans on the players' side, it can be brilliant. Like our fans are our own critics sometimes. They're not too much of a fan of playing out from the back, so they can sometimes get on the players' back. So the thing I'd be worried about is if you got to go early on. For us, that's a big difference. If you can kill the crowd, you can kill the game off. But if we can get an early goal, or equally we're still in it with half an hour to go, etc. Like we've already sold out for the game. Fans are really excited this year. So our home form, it's been good because previous seasons, I think we've only won like 2 or 3 at home or something crazy like that. It's always been a thing where we've been looking forward to playing away. But this year, fans are now excited to actually play at home for once. And I think coming off our last 2 home games, both two good wins against West Brom and Birmingham, we're all quite confident for this one. I know we lost our last game against Middlesbrough. They had a brilliant first half, went 3-0 up, and then second half, it was a closer game, but the game was kind of killed off already. We're in a really good patch of form at the moment, especially at home. So a lot of fans are confident. I certainly am. So
yeah, do you know what? Away form for Leicester seems to be better than bloody home form. I think.
They're definitely more relaxed away than what they are at home. So I think they're, some of the players are waiting for the crowd to get on top of them. If they're not performing in the manner that we expect them to do. Which is a similar thing with most home fans, but I think more so because of obviously being so bad last season in our expectations and all the how can you put it, all the off-field mess that was created by bringing in Steve Cooper for the start, and then how it wasn't great within that, and then to bring in Van Nistelrooy, going 8 games without scoring and all that sort of mess. I think we expected perhaps a season off and to be, a little bit further on than where we are because of the squad, as you say, the squad that we have and the talent that is still within that squad in comparison to the Championship. But because it's not really happened, and people are still angry from last season, and it's just carried on. But and quite rightly, so they're a lot more relaxed away than what they are at home.
Yeah, we've got 15 points away from home, 16 at home. Leicester go into this game, unbeaten in 3, and hopefully they can go unbeaten in 4. QPR versus Leicester then. George, what's your thoughts this season? Obviously, with how you think this game could go, home form key. Obviously, it's a tough game every time you do go to Loftus Road. As obviously a Leicester fan, you bloody get mixed results sometimes. When obviously I've been there quite a few times. What's your thoughts out of this one? Have you got any sort of key things you actually want to take into this game when obviously facing Leicester? Have you got any questions?
I don't know. I was quite shocked with the way that you guys started the season, really. I think it was just a theme as a Championship as a whole, where so many teams who have had parachute payments and good squads were so low down in the league. It was almost like an opportunity, but you're starting to see them teams come through now. You're obviously in a good bit of form. For us, really, I just want to see us play a high press as we usually do at home. That's a big difference between Marti and Stefan this year. We're playing a really high press, especially later on in games, because we've got that little bit more energy. So that's really good to see. I don't really know too much about your squad, to be honest. I look at it on paper and I look at it and I'm like, some of these players, they're just ridiculous for Championship, like Fatawu, for example. He's just ridiculous for a Championship level. Ollie Skipper, would you sign him for big money, did you? I'm guessing so.
25 million.
That's what I mean. That's some QPR fans dream of, mate. And that's really the big difference.
You've asked the club sport for overpaying on him. This is the thing. He's probably a 5 million player, but added another 20 million on. You're thinking, what kind of bloody club are we running here?
That's what happens when you're dealing with Daniel Levy and Spurs. That's the problem there.
Well, don't worry. We went through the same thing when we went up 10 years ago, splashed the cash, and we paid the price for it. But no, I just think a lot of QPR fans will want us to go into this positive. And there's not really much more I can say. We're home form, it's been good. We're confident. We are confident. It'll be a tough game. Obviously, you guys, as I said, in good form. The Marti factor coming back, will that play on the fans' minds? But I reckon it will do. It'll be a tough game, a really tough game. But there's no easy games in the Championship, as you said earlier on, Jack. There's not an easy game in the league. And that's what makes the Championship the best league in the world, in my opinion, because it's just so competitive. That's why I wouldn't want us to go up. As much as it would be good financially, we get absolutely battered every week, and it would just be boring. Whereas at least in the Championship, it's a bit of fun. Yeah. So it'll be a tight game to call, but I think it'll be a good game. I can see goals personally. I can see goals. I don't see it being too tight. A lot of our home games recently, well, all of our games really have been really open. Yeah. So I think that plays into our factor a lot because, as I mentioned, we don't like having too much possession. So we prefer teams who come at us. So I'm not sure. Are you guys like that? Are you a team who?
We like to let teams just sit and then.
Yeah, like I say, the last 3 games. Yeah.
We've been quite quick though, haven't we, Dan, in transition when we let teams come at us, and then you guys obviously play a high line, innit? And that's what we my ears, to be fair, because Derby tried playing a high line.
They did, and they got caught out big time.
Bristol City did the same thing in obviously the first half, and they got caught out well on. And Ipswich went and did the same thing, and then how quick Leicester are in transition.
Yeah,
it was just like Fata would get forward, Bobby Reid would pick up that space, and then Jordan Ayew would drop into that number 10, and Bobby Reid would then go behind. And you've got Mavid Edith, you've got James who can play them passes, Oliver Skip. Leicester are just picking it off, and we then start to score goals and build that confidence.
Well, with the way you're describing it, you sound quite similar to us in the way of playing on transition at the moment, and the way that you're playing your two forward players of Reid and Ayew is very similar to the way we play Kone and Burrell. They're always rotating. It always starts with Kone in the 10, but it varies really. Like against Birmingham, they played more as two strikers, but against West Brom, they played as a 10 and a 9. So, it's interesting because the teams we played at home who sit back, let us keep the ball a little bit more, we have struggled against.
Yeah.
Like Millwall, we struggled against. Preston, we struggled against. Like we should have beaten Preston, but Millwall was the one for us. We dominated the whole game. They scored 2 goals before half time, and then just sat in the rest of the game. So if you're a team who comes at us, I back us more because it leaves us that space in behind with the pace that we have got this year. So it'll be interesting.
Very much, it looks like a very much it's both sides cancelling each other out, doesn't it? This one,
it has the potential of that. Yeah,
they both play the same way. They both want the same thing, so it's going to be counter-attacking football. Who can counter each other the best? Dan, talk to me about this game. Obviously, Leicester 2 wins, a draw going into this. We asked to be better than just 45 minutes against Ipswich. We did. We turned up. For longer spells in the game. We obviously gave away that silly goal, but how good was that Ipswich when obviously Bobby Reid scored that absolute great goal, by the way, to put us ahead, but then Abdul Fatawi went and topped it where 70-yarder.
Yeah, that's it. You can never get bored of watching that, no matter who you support.
Yeah, what a goal.
That's it. But and again, that's the sort of thing that he can do, and quite comfortably.
He tries it a lot, doesn't he, Dan?
He does, more often than you think.
Swansea at the crossbar.
Yeah.
And, sometimes he'll fall over his own feet when he tries it because he hasn't steadied himself. But for that one to go in the goal fashion that it did, it gave us a build on the second half against Ipswich because Ipswich were very poor. I don't know how they played against you, George. I know, is it Nunes scored, didn't he?
Mate, that game was so frustrating because we conceded so early on in the game. I think we conceded in the first 2 minutes, really poor from our left back and keeper. And then we got ourselves in the game, and for 25 minutes, we absolutely dominated. And then we just let the same thing happen again second half. They scored within the first 2 minutes, Nunes free kick. Scored about 15 minutes later, Nunes free kick. So it was just... it was a frustrating game because that's the thing. We're known for giving clubs who have struggled, but like momentum. Like you look at it, Southampton's first win really of the season was against us, and look how well they're doing now. That's why they call us Charity Park Rangers, mate. If I'm being honest, Norwich away, we gave them their first home win of the season. But no, that Ipswich game was frustrating because we gave a team for the quality players confidence. And that's what I'm worried that we're going to do against you guys. If we concede early, as I said, on paper, your squad is too good for the championship, in my opinion, anyway. So if we give you guys confidence, that's my only worry.
Well, we're definitely a lot more fuller of confidence as it stands. I mean, it helps, like I say, that we look like we've developed and got a bit of an engine room with
Skip and
I keep wanting to say Winks, but Skip because I'm so used to saying Winks being in the middle there. But certainly with Skip and JJ in there now. JJ's mobility is unbelievable. He gets absolutely everywhere, and now he's got Skip alongside him, who is just as energetic. Obviously not quite as good on the ball, but still he's improving a lot. Over his consistent run of games now, he's finding momentum and belief in himself to go and do things. But definitely with Mavs and Abdul, it's definitely a bit of a concern, and that's what my question to you is. Obviously, yes, we know about your forwards, but who else do we need to be sort of cautious of at the minute? Who's your man in form?
So as I mentioned, man in form mainly Burrell, but we've got good wingers this year. The squad depth we've got this year is really good. Koki Saito, really good player for us. And we brought him in on a permanent, which we didn't think was actually going to happen in the summer. And he started off the season on fire. Charlton at home, played out of his skin for the half hour that he was on the pitch. But he's sometimes just too weak for the Championship. But in terms of technical ability, if he can take a player one-on-one, he'll always go for the byline. He's got that bit of quality in him. I would have said Chair, you know. It's just frustrating that he's injured. Paul Smith's another one. He's really inconsistent. He's got pace. He's really got pace, but he's just his own downfall. He just tries to win fouls too many times. Like, it's one of them players who would rather win a foul than score a goal. And it's just
that sounds like Ayew.
Yeah, it's just
Jordan Ayew's everywhere, isn't he, Dan?
Yeah,
it's really weird. And I think it might sound crazy to say, but one of our best attacking threats at the moment has been Amadou Mbengue from right back. He's naturally a centre back, but the last few games he's gone in that right back position. He's done really, really well. He's the most unorthodox right back I think I've ever seen in my life. But he is just so. He's got so much pace. He always gets forward. And he helps Jimmy Dunn as well. Obviously, last year, Jimmy Dunn was a right back, did well for him.
From set pieces.
I was going to ask. What, has he moved further forward then?
Jimmy Dunn?
Yeah.
No, he's back at centre-back now. So his downfall was his pace. But with Mbengue at right-back, he really helps covering him.
He's quite good on the... the transition side of things. Mbengue, he covers and overlaps quite well, doesn't he, for QPR? I watched him against, the Birmingham game recently when he played at home.
Yeah, he got man of the match in that one, I think.
Yeah.
He's done really well since he's come in. And as you mentioned, Jimmy Dunn, he's a massive threat from set pieces. It's not just from set pieces, it's that second play after. Because after a corner, say the ball gets cleared, he always tends to stay in the box for it. So I think last year he was like number one for headers won or something like that in the league. So he hasn't exactly done it as much this year because he hasn't been in that right back role, and Marti used him as an outlet ball a lot. One of the reasons for our success. But we're a well balanced team at the moment. We're a team, as I said, on confidence, good squad depth. We can make rotations. So yeah, we're all thinking a lot more positively than we did last year, to say the least. So.
Yeah. It sounds like a real good matchup, to be fair.
Yeah, it does.
I've got one question for you guys. Right.
Yeah.
Keep the situation. So is it Begovic in goal or is it the other guy?
No, it'll be Jakob.
We are sort of in the we're being worded to be in for Anthony Patterson from Sunderland.
Yeah, I think we've been reported.
I mean, I think he's a better keeper than Stolarczyk. Stolarczyk this season, he has a rick in him. He make good saves. We know that he's a good shot stopper, but he makes his mistakes when it's like
See, that's the issue. That's the issue for us. Our keeper Paul Nardi is a great shot stopper. Coming for crosses, he's really good. Like he's bottom in the league, I believe, for claiming crosses. So if you can put the ball on top of his head.
Well, we may cause you a bit of a problem there then at the minute, because at the minute, Abdul and Mavropanos are putting more crosses in than they have done in the last 3 games than they have done all season.
See, that's the worry. That's the worry for us QPR fans. We've got 3 keepers. We've got Joe Walsh, who started the season, not good for the level. You've got Ben Hamer, who...
another former Leicester goalkeeper.
He's solid, but you can see why he's never become a solid number 1 because he just got that mistake in him.
Yeah, but he must be about 40 now as well.
Yeah, he is something like that.
Really cracking on. I remember his game against Anfield for Liverpool.
Yeah, and then Paul Nardi in goal, good shot stopper, but he's absolutely awful from corners and crosses. Yeah. And every single time there's a corner, we all have our hearts in our mouths because it can lead to anything.
Yeah. Well, that's what I say. That is a little bit like us.
Begovic is
better, but
Begovic is a good shot stopper, isn't he?
Slow.
He just don't like. I don't know if that's age or what, by the way, with Begovic. But the thing is, he's got huge experience, Begovic. But what I find with him, he don't come for crosses sometimes. You're thinking, why have you not come for that? There were a game against Middlesbrough, George, where he's got to come for the ball. If he comes for the ball and punches it and takes the defender out, that goal doesn't happen. But he just doesn't seem to do sometimes the basics, for his experience that he has got. Evening, Richie.
Yeah. But it was like that with us. He made some weird decisions at times, really weird decisions.
Yeah, it's about timing, isn't it? But Jordan James, though, Dan, and Oliver Skip, they built that formidable partnership at the minute. Who needs Harry Winks when you got Oliver Skip, mate? Oliver Skip putting in the performances, getting the praise. Ben Nelson, fantastic, solid. Him and Vestergaard seem to be building a bit of a
forming a nice little partnership. Half there.
Luke Thomas built a little bit of confidence after the Ipswich game, which I thought he was solid. To be fair. But then you look at Abdul, his confidence is going to be booming after that goal. I don't know if he'll try one at QPR.
That's QPR's worry now. A very, very confident Abdul is not a nice sight for an opposition fan because he's done it. He'll want more.
He'll try it again.
Oh, 100%. He'll be frustrating for us a little bit. Because he will be trying stuff that you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And then when it goes in, it's fantastic. When it misses, for God's sake.
One will come on without
Bobby Reed's been fantastic. Yeah, 3 goals in 3 games. He's got big championship experience. He
likes to go against us anyway.
Does he?
He always, when he was at Fulham, he'd always score against us.
Yeah.
But nice to get one over on Marti, but it's going to be hard against Leicester. Big up, UK. Good to see you win as always, mate. But yeah, it's going to be. I think it is a tough game. It is.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be an interesting.
It won't be too high score in this one. Last time.
You never know.
Last time we visited was the game that Harry Winks scored the absolute belter, didn't he? From beat Begovic, all ends up. That was 2023. I think Mamadidi put us ahead. You guys were down to 10 men, wasn't you? Dazelle scored for you in that game just before all time. Leicester's team hasn't really changed a lot from last time we played. Obviously, there's been a few different additions, but I think this is the type of game where our key players like Bobby Reed, James, and players like that are really going to come into effect if we are to get the 3 points at the weekend. Because I think this is where both sides are going to go for it. I don't think both sides will be happy with a point. They'll obviously want to go into the festive fixtures because the championship this time of year, George, there's a lot of games now thick and fast, aren't there? I think is it 4 games over about 12 days?
Yeah, it's relentless, isn't it? For us QPR fans, we never do well on Boxing Day, especially away from home. So that's almost a guaranteed loss for us. So it'll be crucial to win our home games. We've got you guys, and we got our next 3 games at home are you guys, Norwich, and Sheffield Wednesday. You guys obviously a tough game, but then you look at Norwich and Sheffield Wednesday, and you think, okay, we should be beating them at home. But I wish it was that easy for QPR. I really wish. I really wish it was that easy for QPR. But no, it's relentless over Christmas. It can really kill or kickstart a season, I'd probably say. Because in them 4 games, if you only get 1 or 2 points across that, you can quickly see yourself dropping off. But if you can pick up 3-4 wins across them 4-game period, who knows?
I tell you what I have seen at Loftus Road. David Nugent chasing a squirrel on the pitch.
Yeah. You know what? I think I'm a little bit too young to remember that. But I've seen clips. I've seen clips of it.
Jamie Vardy scored in that game. It were a 1-0 win. I'm going to say it is a 1-0. Yes, it was a 1-0 win. 2013.
Oh wow, that would have been. I would have been 5. I would have been 5 years old, so I don't remember it
I
too
believe it was a game Joey Barton got sent off, and that's no bloody surprise if that bloody ever gets
sounds familiar, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say, big game in it with him.
Well, there we go. Yeah. So let's get into footing both camps before we get into teams. So we've got Asmir Begovic, who we've obviously covered, Marcus Bent, DJ Campbell, John Curtis. I mean, one of the poorest players I think I've seen in the Leicester shirt. Les Ferdinand, Damien Delaney, Ben Hamer, who we've covered. Carl Ikeem. I remember one of Carl Ikeem's games against Leicester, George. He come out of his goal too far and Martin Waghorn put it back over the top of him. I think Dan will remember that game. We beat you by a big score in that game. It was a few years back though. It makes me feel old.
I was going to say, George ain't going to remember hardly any of these or the results.
I've heard their names, but don't ask me about the results.
2009. Yeah, 2009.
My first game was in 2011. So,
Paul Konchesky, I'm sure people remember Paul Konchesky. Danny Simpson, Alex Smithies, Dean Sturridge, George Thomas, Simon Royce, Andy Impey. Oh, and obviously Wayne Brown. So there's a fair few probably way before your time, George.
I was going to say Andy Impey wouldn't have even been born.
No, I've met Andy. I've met Andy Impey actually. He's a nice guy. He's always around.
He didn't really do much at Leicester. Right, let's have a look at the lineups then. So, George, you went with a 4-4-2 last game, mate. So you had Noddy in goal, and Mbenge, Dunn, Clark, Salter, Norrington, Davis, Smith, Varane, Madsen, Sato, Kone, and Burrell. That was the game in the 3-1 defeat against Middlesbrough last game. Do you think he'll change it, or do you think he'll go with the same?
I don't see him changing too much, to be honest with you. Back five will stay the same, in my opinion. He might bring Steve Cook in instead of Clark Salter just to shore it up a little bit.
Because, still playing?
Yeah. You know what? He started off the season quite poor, but
Steve Cook.
The last few games he has done pretty well for us. Midfield two of Madsen and Varane, really solid at the moment. And then it'll be interesting to see what he does out wide. I can see him going Saito and Dembele for this one. I'd like to see him starting Poku just because he hasn't started for us yet, and it'll be interesting to see him get a full run out. So that's something I'd like to see. And then the front two will stay the same. It'll just be whether we go more with a front two or Kone in the 10. It really does vary. But I can see, especially at home, he likes to play Kone in that 10 a little bit more. So I can see him doing that.
Dan, Leicester, the winner for Ipswich. We had Jordan Ayew up front, Bobby Reid, Fatawu, Mavadidi. They were the front four. And then we had the Skip and James duo behind. And then the defence of Thomas Vestergaard, Ben Nelson, Ricardo Pereira, Jakub Stolarczyk. What do you reckon, Dan? I wouldn't fix it what isn't broken. I would go with the same team consistently.
Yeah,
Marty's got to stick with his guns here and don't fix things that aren't broken. Just go with the same thing. That consistent team, you only fix it when something needs doing. Just leave it as it is. I'm going with the same team, Dan.
Well, yeah, I don't see him changing it anyway because other than Ricky P dropping in and out with the midweek game, which he's done the whole season, that side has been pretty consistent over those last three games. I don't really see, like I say, with it being on a Saturday, Ricky will play at right back, and like I say, there's no need to change. It'll be on the bench where we'll be a bit stronger on the bench this time because yes, we've lost Pat Sandaka to the African Cup of Nations.
It's not really a big
miss. That's no real loss.
We could talk Michael Antonio at some point.
That's it. And we've got Monga, who will be excited to see back if he gets on, and Ramsey back as well. So we've got at least we've got depth going on for actual players. This is it. We've got actually stronger cover that's come back from injury and back in to the bench than what we've had, who may drop out as well from that bench. Will be yet to see. Probably Evans. Probably Evans for Monga. but maybe Page, because now Ramsey's back. He doesn't need that extra midfielder.
Could it be Wout fast?
Possible, but unlikely, because we don't have centre half cover. Because Poli's still out for a couple more weeks. So, yeah, I can't see, as much as we would like Fass to be the last aggravator to be left out of the squad, I can't see it because we just don't have the cover.
Fair enough. So you're going to stick with the same team, yeah, and then put
Ramsey. It'll be the same team, like I say, just with the changes on the bench.
We've just got to get the game management right, second half. You know,
which I think
as we did against Ipswich, just do it right.
That's it. I think he will. I think he's learned as well from
Bristol City game in the second half.
Bristol City game and from the first half of the Sheffield United game, you know, and even really the first half in the Norwich game where sort of it did start to roll a little bit, but yeah.
Well, let's see what happens. George, score prediction, mate.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this one. My head and my heart are telling me two different things. My heart's obviously saying that we're going to win the game. I'm looking back at our last home games and I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be another 2-1 win. But I think my head's telling me a draw. I think it's two teams who are confident with a bit of momentum. As I said, I think there'll be goals. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw.
Ooh. Dan?
Yeah, I was gonna match up from what George was saying.
You matched it.
Yeah, from what George was saying and how suspect we can be at times. Again, like I say, I would like to stick with the fact that the role that we've been on will get the win. I would most definitely take the 2-2 draw without a doubt, because you know I think by the sounds from what George is saying, we have the same frailties about us. You know, we're quite weak at corners coming into the box, free kicks coming into the box. And then again, Jakob can pull off a worldie 1 minute and then pass the ball to the opposition centre forward the next. So
let's hope he's learnt from that, Dan.
Well, you'd like to hope so.
So you're going 2-2?
Yeah.
Okay, right. I'm going for the Marti party to continue at Loftus Road. 2-1.
Yeah.
2-1 win. I think going into this Christmas period, it's going to be key that we do pick up these wins, because we still don't know what's happening with the bloody points deduction scenario and all that. That could be unfolding at the end of the year. For any Championship fans watching, if anyone wants to know, it will be the end of this month, start of the new year. So we'll see what happens. But 2-1 for me. I think Marty will get one over on his former side, but it'll be a tough game. Both sides will score. I think Coney will probably score for QPR, and if it's not, I think it'd be Jimmy Dunn will score from a set piece or some sort. Leicester, Bobby Reid and Jordan James, I think we'll get the other two for Leicester. I'd take a draw, but I think we could win it. Well, we'll see how we turn up. That's the main thing. But George, it's always a pleasure, mate, chatting to you. Last time we obviously chatted was the FA Cup game, wasn't it? But it's always good to chat up with you, mate. All the best for the rest of the season after the weekend. And have a great Christmas.
Cheers, mate. You too.
Nice to meet you, George.
Cheers, mate.
Nice to meet you, mate. See you later.
That
was George. Great guest. It's always good chatting with him when it comes to QPR. It's always good insights and all that.
That's it.
Yeah, it's always great to get opposition views down of different aspects of games. Obviously, we've got Watford coming up, haven't we? We've got Derby, Sheffield United's coming up as well.
Two again.
The Championship's thick and fast now, you know, and it's difficult to keep up. But everyone go and check out Championship predictions. We have chatted. We've dusted that off.
Can't believe you've got Lee in there.
Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. Well, Lee was having a hot dog, by the way, and he said a hot dog, and there we go. Happy Xmas, everyone. Everyone have a great Christmas. If you don't see us before Christmas, have a great one. Go and spend time with your family and friends. Enjoy the football and all that. We will be back though. with the match day vlog on Saturday as we go to QPR. Fingers crossed, 3 points. And then we've obviously got the championship predictions for week 23, which will be the halfway point of the championship, Dan, by the way. So we're going to be halfway through at that point. So yeah, that'll be which will be on Tuesday with the boys. Steve will be back for that one after missing this one. And then we'll have the preview for Watford coming up as well. So yeah, busy. And then obviously Derby after that.
Yeah.
As we take on the Rams. So thanks again, Dan. Appreciate it as always. Take care, everyone.
See you soon. See you later.